Alright you guys, Stoopzz back in with another video, and today I'm bringing you a Holy Paladin guide for 7.3. It's 1 AM in the morning and I just woke up from a nap and it's super dark outside, but I gotta get back on that grind and I gotta make sure I bring you guys some content as I have been having so many computer issues, and that is why I have not been able to make content for you guys like I've been wanting to over the past couple days and almost weeks now. So shout out to all my Patreon supporters on my Patreon page, as well as all of my donors like Patrick and Stefan and Brennan Brady, Mr. Brown, Deagle, all of you guys that have been supporting me on the stream and making and keeping the dream alive. I want to thank you guys so much. And to the guy who always tells me I need to look into the webcam while I am doing these guides, I can look into the webcam. I'm not embarrassed. But it's just the way my system is currently set up. I have a webcam over here and my screen over here, and it works great for streaming, but when making videos, sometimes it's hard when I'm trying to look at the screen over here, but then also keep track of you over here. So just like all of my previous guides in the past, I will go over our general talents, our honor talents. I'll go over some quick tips and tricks that you guys can utilize when playing the Holy Paladin, and then I'll go over some standard arena comps that you guys can look to kind of implement and when trying to climb the ladder. And if you guys enjoy this guide, do not forget to smash that like button and rate it thumbs up. Starting off with our general talents first, I always go with level 15 Bestow Faith. It provides a delayed heal that you can apply onto the target for a low mana cost and on a 12-second cooldown, so I try and use this ability off cooldown. For level 30 up for Cavalier, it gives you 2 charges on your Divine Steed, which is your getaway mechanic and also your mechanic to initiate inside of fights to land CC. For level 45, you have Fist of Justice, Repentance, or Blinding Light. All of these are good options, but when you're starting out on your Holy Paladin, I recommend just starting off with Fist of Justice and working your way onto these other traits depending on the comp you're playing. At level 60, you're going to opt for Devotion Aura. It is a defensive aura, reducing the amount of damage your allies take while they are around you. If there's no one around you, it'll just be 20%. However, when you activate your Aura Mastery, it will give the benefit to all members within 40 yards. Level 75, you're going to choose Holy Avenger. It just gives you some increased haste every 1.5 minutes and also increases your Holy Shock healing by 30%. For level 9, you're going to choose Sanctified Wrath. It just increases the duration of your Avenging Wrath, and the Holy Shock cooldown is reduced by 50% for that duration. For level 100, opt for Beacon of the Lightbringer, and I will get into it in the tips and tricks portion of the video, but overall I feel that it provides the most amount of healing and it works quite well with Light of the Dawn. Going into our honor talents now, I opt for Gladiator's Medallion. You're not an orc. Relentless is going to help you there, and Adaptation is just too finicky, so I feel that Gladiator's Medallion is the all-around safe pick. For the next bracket here, you can opt for Defender of the Weak or Divine Favor. Vim and Vigor is not a good pick as a paladin because you are sacrificing a lot of your own health to heal your allies. Overall, Divine Favor is the safer pick. It essentially gives you an Aura Mastery on your heal so you cannot be interrupted, and it increases the amount of healing you're going to be doing on your Flash of Light or Holy Light by 100%, so it can do a massive Holy Light. You just need to be careful when using this ability that does not get purged off or dispelled, because it can be, and it can really throw you off if you're expecting to not get interrupted when activating the spell. For this next bracket, you have 3 options and I'll talk about them shortly here. You have Unbound Freedom, which is going to give you a nice movement speed increase when you activate Blessing of Freedom, which is good versus any team at a low rating where you feel that they're going to be chasing you down the entire time. It does help you get away. And finally, you have Cleanse the Weak, and now Cleanse the Weak is very powerful versus any team with like a Shadow Priest and even an Affliction Warlock, but usually it's coupled with melee wings, and I'll get to that later on in the video. For this next bracket, once again, you have 2 options. You have Light's Grace, which is your go-to for most games, and then you have Pure of Heart. Light's Grace works well with Holy Light. It's going to increase the amount of healing that you do on your Holy Light, and then it provides a buff on your allies or yourself. Every time you cast a Holy Light, they get a defensive buff. It reduces the amount of damage they take by 5%, and it stacks all the way up to 3 times, so 15% damage reduction. And you can choose Pure of Light when you're fighting any rogue or DK team. I still feel like Light's Grace is the better pick, but maybe in 2s you can try Pure of Heart and see if it's more effective there. Following that, you're going to opt for Ultimate Sacrifice. It just transforms your Blessing of Sacrifice, which used to transfer 30% of the damage dealt to you from the target that you applied onto to 100%. So now it will transfer 100% of the damage. You can save any ally who's about to die, and it will transfer all that damage back to you in a damage over time effect. However, when you fall below 20% health from this ability, it will be canceled. And I thought I took that portion out. I thought it still could kill you, but now it's saying that it can't. So now for this last bracket, I know many of you guys have been wondering, Stoopzz, do you still use melee wings? Do you use Blessed Hands? Do you use Spreading the Word? Is melee wings still good? Blessed Hands for most cases is the all-around better pick. It's going to give you 2 charges on your Freedom, that's 1 finger. It's going to give you 2 charges on your Bop, 2 charges on your Ultimate Sacrifice, so it's going to give you a lot of defensives, and it's really good versus melee melee heavy teams. However, Avenging Crusader, when coupled with Cleanse of the Week, is an amazing combo. Recently, following 7.3, Holy Paladins are doing a lot of damage in Avenging Crusader. I think it is the stat bonus buff, the increase of stats into 7.3. Healers are now doing a little bit more damage since the stats have been increased, and those numbers are translating into healing as well. And I'll discuss on this combo in our tips and tricks portion of the video. So some of the main tips and tricks regarding the Holy Paladin is that you are really strong when you have your wings activated. When wings fall off, you want to opt to use Holy Avenger. It's going to kind of stabilize your group when you are outside of that Avenging Wrath, that Avenging Crusader time frame, and it is a great tool to use. Also, make sure you're using your Bestow Faith off cooldown. It is a low mana cost heal. It heals for a nice amount. It's a great stabilization tool. It helps heal the target that's being trained. You can kind of time incoming damage. You also want to make sure that you're using your Judgment off cooldown. This works great with your artifact, which reduces the amount of damage you take by 12% for 4 seconds after you throw out a Judgment. And if you're opting for Fist of Justice, which you most likely are, it's going to reduce the cooldown on your Hammer of Justice by 10 seconds every time you throw out a Judgment. Now I want to go into the Cleanse the Week Avenging Crusader playstyle. So when you are in Avenging Crusader, you're going to be running in and throwing out your Judgments and spamming out your Crusader Strikes to stabilize your group. But since you are in melee range, you can really take use of this Cleanse the Week trait. Now again, if you're running melee wings, it's good versus any comp that has a lot of spread pressure, a lot of dot damage. So this works really well with Cleanse the Week. Cleanse the Week essentially will dispel allies within your aura of the same effect whenever you dispel a target. So for example, if all 3 of you guys have Vampiric Touch and you dispel one of your allies and they're within your 10-yard aura, everyone will be rid of Vampiric Touch. But it only works on the same spell. So for example, if you dispel yourself, it's not going to dispel Mind Bomb on the other target. It's only going to dispel the same effect that you have on yourself when compared to your allies. So hopefully that makes sense. So just make sure you're dispelling the target with the Mind Bomb. It will rid him of the Mind Bomb as well as the Vampiric Touch, which will also translate to the rest of your group. Now the reason this works well with melee wings is there's not going to be a time when you're in 10 yards of your ally. So since you do not have Divine Vision, which extends your aura to 30 yards, you really have to be like melee range or just nearby your allies. And the only times you'll be doing that is with Avenging Crusader. So you can activate your Avenging Crusader, run in, start doing damage. You're all beating on the Shadow Priest, and then you can dispel yourself or somebody else, and it will rid all of them of the Vampiric Touch. When beating on the target, you can use your Light of the Dawn. That's going to increase all healing of your targets by 10%. This is also a nice bonus. So those abilities work really well together when using Avenging Crusader. Now I quickly want to go over the rotation of the Holy Paladin. A lot of it is just based on your Holy Shock. Whenever you Holy Shock a target, you're looking to get a proc on your Holy Light, which just reduces the cast time of your Holy Light, making it a fast cast. So you're really looking to see if you're going to get that proc, so you can spam out those Holy Lights because they heal for a lot and they give that defensive aura called Light's Grace. Now when you're in your Avenging Wrath, you're going to be getting a lot of Holy Shock procs onto your Holy Light. You can spam out a lot of Holy Lights and you can build that defensive buff. But sometimes you're not going to get a crit under a Holy Light. I just got one right there, but I didn't get one right there. And you're going to have to cast this super slow Holy Light. When you're in that situation, when you have to cast this Holy Light, you're just going to spam your Light of the Martyr. It heals for a lot. And you can use your Holy Avenger to try and stabilize and get some increased cast speed, some faster times on your Holy Light. Rarely do I use Flash of Light. I only use it when I'm behind a pillar and I'm about to die. I'm at 1%, and I rarely use it even in those scenarios. It heals for like nothing, and most of the time you will get a Holy Shock proc, so you get that quick Holy Light cast. But again, when you do not have a proc, you can just use your Bestow Faith and you can spam your Light of the Martyr on the target, and that will help stabilize things. Remember, you have 2 walls. You have your Divine Protection, which is a 1-minute cooldown, reducing 20% of the damage you take that you can activate while you're stunned. And you also have your Aura Mastery, which will increase your Devotion aura, also reducing the amount of damage you take. Now regarding your artifact trait, Tears Deliverance, this is great when you anticipate incoming damage. Right now in the current meta, and if you're just learning the Holy Paladin, when the fight starts, just activate Tears Deliverance. It's going to do a lot of bonus healing on your Holy Light. It's going to provide an additional hot. So Tears Deliverance is actually really strong. It just feels really clunky to try and use it when you like in the middle of a fight. So when the fight starts, just activate it at the very start. Or if you're behind a pillar, you can kind of run behind the pillar and begin to cast the ability and then run back out into the fight. It is a great stabilization tool and a very powerful artifact ability. So it's a simple rotation. You'll run out there, pop your wings in the engagement. You can Holy Shock, go for a Holy Light, use your Bestow Faith. If you're taking a lot of damage, you can use your Light of the Martyr, go for another Holy Shock, go for an increased Holy Light, you know, maybe activate your Tears Deliverance, which will increase all of your healing into another Holy Light, and then when you don't get a Holy Light proc, you'll be spamming your Light of the Martyr, waiting for your Holy Shock to come back up, and it's just rinse and repeat, you guys. Use your Sacks if you have to, use your Bop if you have to. Make sure you're using your Light of the Dawn off cooldown. It heals for quite a bit now, and it does give you a healing increase, and then keep using your Bestow Faith. Bestow Faith, Light of the Dawn off cooldown, they're instant casts, you can't get interrupted. Wait for a Holy Shock, try and buy time and do a Holy Light. If you get a slow Holy Light cast, just use your Light of the Martyr unless they're already stabilized and you're at a distance and you're trying to build that Light's Grace from your Holy Light. Remember, Light's Grace is that defensive buff that we chose in our general talents. I'll also include some of my macros, my Dispel macro, my Hammer of Justice macro, and my Judgment macro in the description box below. I've touched on these macros in a video, which I will also include in the description box below, but I recommend all of you guys watch that video as it is very informative and it will kind of teach you how to use these macros. Now going over some of the comps for Holy Paladin. Holy Paladins work well in many different comps. You can actually play them in any comp, so if you want to play them with Walking Dead or like DH Warrior or any like cheese-based melee cleave comp, you can, but I feel like they excel more in setup-based comps. They work well with mages because they can polymorph a lot and you can offer bops, freedom, sack to kind of keep the mage alive. They work well with ferals. Any comp that has some sort of CC so they can peel for you, Holy Paladins work really well there. A good comp would be Feral Fire Mage. Walking Dead is another great comp. Mage Warrior is also another great comp, but any comp really. So feel free to try out many comps with the Holy Paladin. Again, I've been enjoying this class quite a bit. I'm going to be releasing some of the stream gameplay, the stream footage that I've been doing over the past couple days on my Holy Paladin when partaking in this Iron Man LFG challenge that I know you guys like so much. But that's going to do for this video, you guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you have any more questions regarding the Holy Paladin, you can leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you guys right away. Try not to miss me on my YouTube live stream. I answer all of your guys' questions in depth. Do not forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys next time.